You guys excited about the
Excellent.
Detroit Lions?
Connection.
Oh yeah, very.
They could do it this year.
This is as big as thrill and fun being a fan as we had since I was in.
Negative
Yeah,
10th
like
grade.
35 years ago. Yeah.
So it was 1976,
The Silver
Thanksgiving Day, and my Uncle Eddie walks out of the room as the Lions, Len, are getting the crap kicked out of him again. Just totally getting killed. And he
Every
goes,
Thanksgiving.
yeah, and he goes, I'm done. And so it's like 2004-ish maybe. And one of my other relatives died. And I'm standing next to Uncle Eddie. I haven't seen him in forever. I got nothing to say. And the Lions had done something. I go, hey, did you see that move the Lions made? And he looks at me, Len, like I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And I said, no, you didn't see what the Lions made? He goes, no, there was this day back in 1976. And I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Like every Sunday for 3 hours, I've wasted all this time following the Lions. And my Uncle Eddie's had that much more life than I've had. So anyway, hey, everybody. Welcome to Lions Football Podcast. Paula is gripped by this discussion.
Yes, fascinated.
Yes. We are getting ready to record a live episode, and just a couple things. Number one is we'll be the amazing Steve Stewart will be putting the audio bits under later on, and it'll be a little cleaner. We generally go and edit some of the stuff, and the cool thing is
swear words.
Yeah, that's right. You get to see all the unedited goodness because you're here with us now. All right, you guys ready? Doug?
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and today we're talking top 10 financial mistakes with our team of amazing contributors. Let's meet them now. First, say hello to the only Paula that's cooler than Paula Abdul, Paula Pant. Also on the show, you know him, you love him, kinda, it's OG, and the man, the myth, the legend. Oh, wait, it's just Len Penzo. But that's not all. Halfway through the show, I'll share my Arbor-esque trivia question. And now, a guy who brings you the best personal finance advice all year long. And today, he's bringing it live from YouTube. It's Joe Saul-Sehy.
Hey there, Stackers, and happy Friday to you. And Len, I didn't see your sign.
It was backwards, by the way, Len. You have to write.
Was it?
Backwards. Yeah, it was backwards, buddy.
Was it backwards?
Which really only drives home the point. I read it.
I read it too.
Can I spoil it?
There you go.
But yeah,
Is that
what
better?
is
There you
it?
go.
Here by mistake. Super. For people not on YouTube with us, welcome to the I Caught a Fish This Big podcast. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun today, and we're going to make sure we include all the audio listeners because today is a great day. It is Game Show Day, which means not only are we going to give people a point for that in our big year-long competition between our contributors, but also at the halfway point of our game show, we still have Doug's normal trivia. So it is a 2-point day with only 3 weeks to go. And the score, Doug, the score's looking pretty good. Who's in third place right now?
Well, right now, wow, do we have a tie for third place?
I think we do. Well, I think we called a tie for
we can
second.
only have a tie for second, but
Well, okay. So first loser. We have a tie for first loser is what we have. And we have both Paula and OG are sitting on lucky 13.
How is Paula tied with OG?
We've had a lot of guests sit in for Paula. That's how.
Paula, what the hell's going on there?
Oh, well, it's finally my time. Finally my time.
It is. Well, it appears it's not your time because somebody else is 3 points ahead of everybody. And by the way, if he wins it this week, if he wins both points this week, he can lock it in. Mr. Len Penzo. Len, after OG having the crown for 2 years, you could get it back today.
I will not count my chickens before they hatch. Absolutely not. Got some good competition here. We got even Paul has stepped up her game, and so you never know. You never know. And you know what? These game shows I hate them. I hate them because I come up with good answers all the time, and these article writers don't know what they're talking about.
So says you. It is weird that you come up with good, quote, good answers, but they never are in the
What I love
piece.
about this is he's blaming the article writers, Joe, and not you and I who are the judge of his answers. So let's just run with it.
We
Let him
should.
go with it.
Yes, distract him. By the way, you were talking about counting your chickens. Len, did you hear why the chicken crossed the road?
No, Joe. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Well, let me tell you why, Len.
Hey, Joe. That was
yes.
good. But I'll give you the real reason why the chicken crossed the road.
Oh, tell me.
Okay.
Oh my God. That's so great. Oh, that was so great. We got Paula, we got Len, we got OG, we got Doug, we got game show. So let's go. You guys know what that sound is. That's our game show music, which means we have another topic. And the topic today, as Doug said so eloquently in his open, is these are, let me make sure I get the wording right because I know what sticklers you guys are. These are the top 10 most common financial mistakes. Top 10 most common financial mistakes. And for people that are new to our game show format, we found a piece in the common media. We won't tell. Our contributors have no idea what piece it is. To Len's point, sometimes these pieces are fairly bad. and that's why we pick them sometimes. And other times they're fantastic. What I like is we always get great stuff from all three of you, no matter what. And we get some pieces. We get to talk about the stuff that these financial writers wrote. So we end up with some good financial advice for everybody during the course of the next 45 minutes. So we are going to go in opposite order. Paula, because of the fact that you finished third last year, that means with 10 on the board, you get the most likely chance to get one of these. So for 1 point, what is one of the top 10 most financial mistakes according to this unnamed piece?
Not getting your 401k match or your full retirement match.
Is not getting your 401k match one of the top 10 mistakes?
Wow.
It is
There
not.
you go.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
I had that one on my list. Thanks.
So
Paula,
close.
for
It's
taking
on the
that.
list, Paula, but they just didn't have the K written in there, so we can't give it to you.
Yeah. Apparently it's the 401. Actually, no, Doug, I don't.
No, it's totally not on there. It's not even close. She wasn't even in the ballpark. But talk about why that would be a huge mistake anyways, Paula.
Oh, Doug.
Well, part of your compensation as an employee is the retirement match or the retirement benefits that your employer gives you. And so if you opt to not take part of your compensation, then you're just turning away part of your compensation. Like, why would you turn that away? Right? And notice the way that I just described that. There are other people in the financial space who will say that you are turning away quote unquote free money. It's not actually free money. This is part of your compensation. This is money that you are earning for the work that you're doing. But in order to collect this particular amount of money, you have to meet a certain condition. And so by failing to meet that condition, you are not collecting your full compensation.
Sadly, it's an easy one to meet.
Is that condition showing up for work?
When I say
that's necessary but not sufficient.
Yeah, when I say easy one to meet, by the way, I don't mean that everybody has the money certainly to be able to save to get the match. So I don't mean it's easy that way, Paula. I just mean that hey, it's free, right? So if there's some other priorities, maybe something else on this list that you can do a better job on, that's an easy win. You don't got to bet on the stock market. You don't got to bet on anything except your employer to actually put it in the account.
Right. And if you think about it, if by virtue of putting in $1, your employer also puts in another 50 cents or another dollar, right? That is the only quote unquote guaranteed return, risk-free guaranteed return that you will ever make in the markets.
It's a fabulous return. 50%.
And it's 100%.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depending on if it's dollar for dollar or 50 cents to the dollar.
Well,
I mean, some,
yes.
some are not as great, Len, but yeah, still point taken. All right. Paula doesn't find one on this list at 10. Oh, gee, that means the board is still completely clear for you, brother.
Wow. Okay. So I actually had not maxing out 401k or not contributing to the 401k also.
Me too.
But
to be clear, she didn't say those.
yeah, that's what
She
I
said
meant
not
match,
getting the
get
401k match.
Yeah, I meant match. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Nice try. I'm not getting tricked into saying, "Oh, max the 401k." Then, I'm going to say, hopefully this is low hanging fruit here. Consumer debt, credit card debt. What is consumer debt? What is credit card debt? I don't know the proper phrasing to make sure I get all the points.
Yeah,
Does OG
be
get
as
all the
broad as
points?
possible.
Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't use a gerund in your answer. So.
Is that debt with an apostrophe? Is using what is it? Not paying off your credit cards?
I'm just saying, just having credit card debt. So yeah, that could be paying off. However you interpret that to give me the points. It's the way that I meant it.
Is it on there? It is on there, and they have that classified as living on borrowed money in this piece.
That's what I meant to say.
Yes, using credit cards to buy essentials has become somewhat commonplace, the writer says, but even if an ever-increasing number of consumers are willing to pay double-digit interest rates on gasoline, groceries, and a host of other items that are gone long before the bill is paid in full, it's not wise financial advice to do so. Credit card interest rates make the price of the charged item a great deal more expensive. In some cases, using credit can even mean you'll spend more than you earn. You've seen this before, OG. People just being upside.
Done this before. I mean, twice. It was awful both times. I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day who settled a lawsuit and a little extra money, not like settled a lawsuit like, I got bajillions of dollars lawsuit, but a sum of money. And the person was like, well, what should I do with it? I said, pay off your credit card debt. Well, but there's Christmas coming and I want to go on vacation and I'm like, well, do that. But the answer is that if you do that, in a year from now, you're going to have the same credit card debt. You're just not going to have the money anymore because it'll just slowly kind of filter away. At least if you zero out all your credit card debt for the time being, you're debt free and you can kind of reset your life. So paying off your consumer debt at almost any interest rate is the best deal possible. I'll get into some arguments with people about, but my car loan's at 1.9. Should I pay? I still think you should probably pay it off just because of the cash flow aspects of it and the opportunity cost of investing elsewhere. But nevertheless, if you have consumer debt, Lord knows it's at 30% these days. That needs to be paid off.
Yeah, huge downside to living on borrowed money. OG gets the first point on the board, Len, to end round one. We got 9 left. What are you thinking?
Let me ask you a question. Are you doing this 1 point, then 2 points, then 3 points? Or are these all just 1 point regardless of what round?
No, 1 point, then 2, then 3. Yeah. So if you've got
so
a really good one you want to risk.
One that's kind of out there, but I think it okay, I'm going to go with the obvious one. It's only worth 1 point, the Jeopardy $200 question. And boy, this better be on there, or
God, there's a huge part of me now, Doug, that hopes it isn't.
I know.
Me too.
It's the only part of me.
This one is like personal finance 101, not budgeting your expenses, planning out your income and your outgo.
The judges are not impressed, Len. I got to be honest. There's some big hesitation going on.
Come on. I want to say no so badly, Joe. But what do you think? It's pretty close
to the first one,
to number 10.
There's some dissension in the ranks even.
Ooh.
Say that again. Say that again, Len.
Failing to have budgeting your income and your outgo, not I'm going to do this as broad as I can.
I was going to say, I love the game within the game. Like basically making a financial mistake. Like generically anything with money.
Planning your income and your outgo, not knowing your income, your outgo, and the budget to plan for that. You have some knowledge about your go, so you can budget.
Okay. Yes. I like the clarification, but is it on the list? It is on the list. And Doug, you're right. It's number 10, which is not having a plan, which could even be wider, right? Your financial
that is
future.
That is a pretty broad.
I did say
gift
the
there.
plan. The word plan was in
When
my
you
response.
said the word plan,
plan.
I
I don't
did
know about
say-
you,
was
Doug.
in
When
my
he said
answer.
We're talking about cash flow here. This
I
is
used that. That's what I used that word.
I,
And that
Both
is
our
101,
answers were
people.
English.
People listen to me. That is personal finance 101. You gotta
putting this one under
know what's
protest
coming
already.
in, going out, and have a plan.
I wanted to
Yes.
say no to Len just so we could see the eruptions bigger than what we expect
there's
in
still
Iceland.
time. There's still
Yes.
time coming. There's still more.
Your financial future depends on what's going on right now. People spend countless hours watching TV or scrolling through their social media feeds, but setting aside 2 hours a week for their finances is out of the question. You need to know where you're going. Make spending some time planning your finances a priority, which would include Len's point of having a spending plan. But Len, it is even bigger than that, though. I mean, not having a plan is a big one.
Well, yeah, and that goes back to your shorter term stuff and your longer term stuff. I mean, I know a lot of people they shoot right out of the gate. Oh, I want to have a Lamborghini or whatever, something, or I want to take this big expensive trip down the road. Well, you got to plan for that. I mean, you can't just. It's not enough to just say I want to do this. You have to figure out your way to get there. How much are you going to save? You got to set it aside. How long is that going to take you, and how do you, how much do you plan to divert of your discretionary spending into other things, so you can make that plan happen. So, without a plan, you're kind of lost.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see not having a plan, living on borrowed money. Those are the types of really big, frankly, the fact that you guys went big, these are big, wide categories, wide topics, wide things, thingies. Doug, is that the
That's
term?
all I'm saying.
Wide something.
The other wide things.
Wide
Yep.
stuff. Yes. At the end of round one, OG with one, Len has one, Paula giving herself the opportunity to come back in round two. But in round two, we go the opposite direction. Round three, Paula will go first again when we get to 3 points. But these now are 2-point answers. So, Len, you can go for 2 in a row. 8 of them left on the board.
So I have to think. Okay, so I have a few here.
Did you just say I have to think?
No,
Like,
no,
oh,
no.
no, I
Well,
have to
which
think.
one I'm going to choose? I have a few
Oh.
here. I was like, which one do I want to choose?
I got to think again.
I'm gonna say I kind of want to. Well, Paula's gave me. I'm gun shy because Paula's wasn't on there. I'm going to stay away from that talk. I'm going to say, being not having enough insurance, like you're underinsured.
Is being underinsured one of the top 10 business mistakes according to this piece? It is not, but that's another good one, Len. That is a good one.
Yeah. Darn it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the one I thought was going to be the long shot.
That was my go-to, Len. So
Really
thank
gonna
you
be-
for falling on your sword for that one.
Was it really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this
Crap.
one's a lay down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crap.
No,
Oh, well.
no. And
you know what? Because look, I mean, you're only supposed to buy insurance for the things you can't afford, right, to pay on your own. So, I mean, to me, that's a big fail to have insurance for something that could happen to you and you can't cover. I mean, that's a huge financial problem. That's why we insure our homes. If most of us insure our homes, especially if we have a mortgage, you have no choice. But you can't. You have to be able to cover that. Likewise for healthcare. Like people will have long-term healthcare insurance, stuff like that. That's becoming popular now too. That can be devastating to your retirement savings. So, I mean, those are things you really need to think about. They could financially devastate you. So that one is not on there. But
So
hey,
so
what
things
do I
you're
know?
saying insurance on things that you can't afford to replace yourself. So by that logic, that tells me I did the right thing by getting the extended warranty on my Pez dispenser.
If
Did
you
I make a
can't
good
afford
choice there?
If you
Somebody got
can't afford another Pez dispenser, that's true. Yeah. Good job. Good
well,
job.
the question
Dad.
is, why do you buy the first one? I don't know. Maybe that's on the list. Buying Pez dispensers.
Joe, do you remember going to that restaurant in the middle of nowhere, Michigan, and the whole hallway was nothing but Pez dispensers?
It
We were on the book tour.
Where the hell were we? We were on the book. We were in Plainwell, Michigan.
Plainwell, was that it?
Plainwell, Michigan.
They have
Holy
a collection.
Cow. It was a huge collection of Pez dispensers. On Monday, in fact, we spoke with Tiffany Aliche, the budgetnista. I know, Paula, you talked to her as well.
Yes.
And for people that didn't hear that interview, we ran an extended, usually our interview is about 25 minutes long. It went 40 because Paula, when we got to estate planning, she went down the road about her husband passing away at age 41.
Oh.
And this gets lend to your point about insurance. Like, I mean, the budgetnista put it right. You don't know what the future holds. And she's like, we were putting off our estate plan. We were putting off all this stuff. And in the morning, he's fine. Calls me, says he has a headache. And a few hours later, he's not there anymore.
And that's, you know, that's life. That's what life insurance is for, right? To replace income that'd be lost if somebody dies early in life. Whereas, and then again, going back to, you only or should buy it for the things that you can't afford to replace. As you get older and you're getting closer to the, you know, to old age, and you don't need that life insurance typically because your family is, you know, your kids should be out of the nest, and you should enough to get you through the rest of your life anyway.
Yeah,
So
you've got enough assets to take care of everything at that point.
Correct.
You know, Len, the number one insurance she said that most people should have that they don't have, and the number one thing, to your point, that people need to replace and they can't, disability coverage, your ability to bring in a paycheck. That was number one that people avoid that they should have. All right. Len, great point. Wasn't one of them. Oh, gee, there's still 8 left here. What is a poor financial decision? Don't know what happened there. Poor
tip jar for Joe.
Top 10, one of the top 10 most common financial mistakes.
All I know is that I had 5 things written down, as you said, and 3 of them have been X'd out. And then the one that I got right. So I only have 1 left. That's all I can say. Top 10 most common financial mistakes. I'm going to say it has to do with no emergency fund, no cash, no great rates on your cash, just no, can't cover. I'm trying to, again, you can't cover an emergency. You can't, there's a lot of things you can't do if you don't have enough money in the bank. So I'm going to say something around emergency funds or covering an emergency.
Is no emergency fund on this list?
I disagree.
Oh
we have
Where?
a disagreement.
Oh my
Joe.
Hold on.
Dissension
Which
in the
number?
ranks.
Which number?
I think this falls under number 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Looks like the
You're-
judges are
sorry.
reviewing it.
Yes, you're right. You are totally right. They have it listed, OG. They have it listed as living paycheck to paycheck. For people not with us live, OG playing with sparklers behind him. Living paycheck to paycheck was their answer, which would result in no emergency fund. So that is correct. In June 2021, the U.S. household personal savings rate was 9.4%. Many households may live paycheck to paycheck, and an unforeseen problem can easily become a disaster if you're not prepared. The cumulative result of overspending puts people in a precarious position, one in which they need every dime they earn, and one missed paycheck would be disastrous. This is not the position you want to find yourself in when an economic recession hits. If that happens, you'll have very few options. You know, there's a lot of people out there, by the way, that have very few options. And it's funny to say, oh, living paycheck to paycheck is a mistake. And I know there's some stackers out there going, no shit. Because I was that person.
Right.
I was like, yeah. And I'm trying to break that. But OG, to your point, the second you can break that string, you either get a windfall, you work some overtime, you take a side hustle for a little bit. That emergency fund's the way to go.
Joe, that little bit more in number 7 there says a lot of financial advisors recommend 3 months. Is that still the right number for most
I
people?
don't know. What do you guys think?
3
OG,
months?
what do you think? 3 months?
Well, if you, to answer your question first, Joe, that you said before, Doug just kind of bulldogged
Yeah.
into the conversation. I think that if you're starting from nothing, the something is better than nothing. You know, Dave Ramsey has his baby steps, and one of the first things is put $1,000 in an emergency fund. cash or someplace safe that you can get to. That's really important first step, even before, starting to save and starting to put money in your 401k. And, because we want to do those things because we know about the value of compounding. We know the time value of money, and it's so important to do that. But if you are in debt and you don't have any cash, any sort of extra debt is going to just pile up that payment, and it's just going to be further. You're just going to get further and further behind, and God knows if you have some sort of expense, some sort of emergency that happens, that now you need to come up with $1,000, or you need to come up with $2,000, or you get laid off and you're out of work for a paycheck. You need a little bit of breathing room first. So I think that the first order of business is always cash, because it gives you the opportunity and the flexibility to do those other things like pay off your debt and save. So Doug, yeah, I do think three months is a minimum number for across the board. But if you're starting from zero, something is better than nothing.
Paula, you've had the opposite issue, which is, I think you've had like 65 years worth of cash sitting there, correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I distinguish between your personal emergency fund versus if for the people who are listening who are entrepreneurs or own a small business, or even if you have a side hustle, you need a personal emergency fund. You also need an emergency fund for your business. And if you pay yourself a salary through that business, then the emergency fund for your business should include the money that you pay to yourself, just as if you were any other employee. And then also, for those who are listening who have rental properties, you need a third bucket, which are cash reserves for those rental properties. So.
Yeah. So you have separate for one for each one, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Just getting my little
Yeah.
poke in there. Speaking of you, Paula, it is your turn. We've still got 7 of them out there.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to broaden out my previous answer, because my previous answer, I think, was maybe too specific. Rather than talking particularly about, maxing out a retirement plan, I'm going to say a common mistake is not adequately planning for big long-term future things, like the not thinking about and planning for a big, like a long-term financial goal.
Not doing any good money stuff.
Oh,
Big
I
ticket,
think the
long-term.
biggest mistake is making mistakes. I think that's probably the biggest one.
Right, this is a
Not
game within a
planning,
game. How broadly can I phrase something? This is truly the game.
Is not saving for long-term on there. It is on there. It is not investing for retirement is on there. So, but Paula, you had don't get the match. It's bigger than that, just not investing for retirement. And so unfortunately we couldn't give you the first time, but way to come back to it. Oh, gee, you even said that, by the way, when you were walking through it.
Double points.
I thought, in fact, no, you said, I'm not doing that one. I'm not, if I remember right, Doug, you said something like, I'm not going to be tricked by that. I'm like, okay. If you do not get your money working for you in the markets or through other income producing investments, you may never be able to stop working. This piece says making monthly contributions to designated retirement accounts is essential for a comfortable retirement. Take advantage of tax deferred retirement accounts and or your employer sponsored plan. Understand the time your investments will have to grow and how much risk you can tolerate. Consult a qualified financial advisor to match this with your goals if possible. Len, this is a hard thing I know for a lot of people to do, because, our brains aren't wired that way. Our brains are wired for today. So like thinking about if I'm 30 years old and I'm sitting here listening to Stacking Benjamins right now, how do you get somebody at 30 to take this thing 30 years from now seriously?
All I can say is what worked for me and what turned on the light. And luckily I saw this, pretty much right around when I started earning a steady income with my main job. But I think if you just look at numbers and you see how compounding and saving early, and you realize that the earlier you start, you see how that compounding really works later down the road, like 30, 40 years, and you see those numbers compounding. For me, it turned the switch on. It's like, you know what? This only works if I start sooner rather than later. Conversely, if you also note that if you start, you can see an example of where if you start later, like I've seen the things where if you start at 25 and you start saving it, I don't know what the number is, 10% or whatever, you're going to earn, you can stop saving at like age 40. And then the person who starts at, you'll still have more than the person who starts at like age 45, starts really late, and then they're saving like at 30% clip for the rest of their, until they're 65. You're still, the person who was saving 10% at 25 comes out way better off. And if you just see those examples on paper, for I mean, that convinced me. It just, you look at the numbers on paper and you don't want to miss out. You get that FOMO. It's like, man, I have to jump in here and do this, or I'm going to miss out.
It's funny, to your point, Gene Natali, who has been a great mentor of lots of kids, says when he gives them the stick and tells them, stay away from credit card debt to like whatever, but then he shows them if you make a Roth IRA contribution, how much it makes you a millionaire, but how quickly you become a millionaire at 65. If you do it at 17, they're like, how do I do that? Like they're excited. Speaking of the stick, Paula, I know you're best friends with Susie Orman. You guys go way back. And Susie said something. I wonder if you agree with this. Susie said, when asked that same question once, she said, if you don't think you can afford to save for retirement now, just close your eyes and imagine now it's the year before retirement. You've done nothing. How will you feel then? So talk about, I mean, that's the stick, right? You're like, oh crap.
Yeah. And that was actually quite motivating for me when I was in my 20s was, knowing how hard it is to be broke. I was like, man, being broke in your 20s, fine. Being broke in your 80s, not fine. Right. And so just knowing what it feels like to be broke and knowing that to be young and broke is one thing, but to be old and broke is something that it was such a big fear. So it's something that I never want to experience. And so the fear of being old and broke, that really motivated me.
Yeah, generally fear. I'm not a fear motivated person. I'm much more aspirational, but that got to me too. Yeah. It totally did. I was like, man, just it is ugly. All right. At the end of 2 rounds, Paula steps up and has 2 points. Mr. Penzo has 1. And OG has 3. Points.
Oh man, I'm in last place. How did that happen?
Welcome to another game show, Len.
What the heck?
At the halfway point, and today it's at the 2/3 point of our show, we have a trivia question, a trivia contest. This is actually where our game show came from, because game shows were playing for extra points. We're going to take a little break here before we give you the scintillating round 3 to dive into Doug's trivia question. So Doug, what do we have on tap today, man?
At the top of the show, Joe, you said I have my normal trivia. I don't have my normal trivia. I have extraordinary trivia. Hey there, stackers.
I thought that was every week.
Extraordinary every week. You're damn right. Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. It's December 1st. And you know what that means? I've already eaten all 24 chocolates out of the advent calendar Joe's mom gave me. I really don't feel that good. They must have gone bad or something. I'll just have to tough it out because I promised her that I'd pick up a Christmas tree for her today. Everyone already knows I'm a pretty rugged guy, but I like to be helpful too. And I'd hate for her to hire someone to do it when I'm right next door. Plus, I'll get a good photo for the Instagram, which will make all the other ladies happy too, If I get the right angle, maybe I can make a side hustle out of picking up Christmas trees for single women. 2 birds. 2 birds, 1 tree. I know I could just go down to the store and get a pre-cut one like most people, but that feels a little bit like cheating. I prefer to go out into the woods on someone else's land and chop down one for myself, just like Paul Bunyan did way back in the day. Joe's mom has pretty high ceilings in her living room, so I'm going to be on the lookout for a 9-footer. Today's trivia question is, how tall is this year's Rockefeller Center Christmas tree? I'll be back right after I lay some blankets down in the old El Camino to protect her from that stupid pine sap.
This is a great question for the first Friday after Thanksgiving weekend. Obviously not Black Friday, but the weekend after. So as we're into December now, Paula, you get to guess last. OG guesses second. Len, because you're in the lead, man, you get to go first. How tall is that Rockefeller Center tree this particular year?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to be embarrassed. I know this one. I know it's tall. I see it on TV, but I cannot even begin to guess how tall it is. Gosh, I'm afraid I'm going to guess low, but I don't know. The number 60 feet is just sticking in my head, so I'm going to say 60.
60 feet. Mr. OG, what are you going to do with that?
So I think that it's unfair that we're referencing something that is in Paula's backyard. And
I think
she
that's
could
very
probably just
fair, highly fair.
look out the window and go, I don't know, how many feet is that thing out my window?
Can you see Rockefeller Center from your window?
I cannot.
Have you walked by the tree yet?
Not this year, no. No, I saw the tree in 2020. I actually haven't seen the tree since.
So we were there in 2017, I think, and it's gigantic. Like I have this picture of my son as we kind of rounded the corner. So there's like the boulevard where it's kind of tucked behind the
30
building.
Rock.
Yeah. And so you kind of walk down this thing and you come around the corner. You're like, oh my gosh, it's there. And like, a 10-year-old, like his face was just like, it was huge. We went ice skating. It was really fun. What was your answer, Len?
60.
60. I think you're really close. I was going to say 100, but I don't think 100's. I think 100 is really tall. That's like 10 stories. It's not 10 stories. I'm going to say a little bit more. Give Paula something to deal with here. 80 feet.
80 feet.
80. Yeah. Paula needs to. I gotta play the game. We're running.
You got
out of
60, you
Fridays.
got 80. Paula, what are you going to do with that?
I'm going to capture the upside, 81 feet. Actually, we're going to go 80 feet and 1 inch. Would that be?
Of course you are.
We'll do that. 80 feet and 1 inch.
Len's got
all the upside.
60.
I thought you were going to say like 70, 68 or something, so you could get smack in the middle. Okay, damn it.
Len's got 60. OG's got 80. Paula's got 80 feet and 1 inch. We will tell you who wins
I think she's
in
got
just
it.
a moment.
I think it's a little taller. I think it's maybe 90.
All right, before the break, Len, you kicked it off at 60 feet, and apparently OG and Paula thought it was taller. What are you thinking?
Well, that's what if you heard me when I started, I thought I was going to, underdo it, but I don't know.
Len, why can't you
I'm
be
looking out my
taller?
window. I'm looking out my window and I'm looking at the lots. I'm Southern California homes here. And there's they're 50-foot lots. I'm looking and I'm guessing, okay, well, that's is the tree a little bit more than the length of that lot? And now I'm thinking about, it's like, that's probably a pretty piddly tree. So I think I'm under. Yeah.
OG feeling good at 80 feet?
I think it's more than 80, but I don't think it's 100, which was my initial instinct. And so I was just trying to give Paula something to have to deal with. So
Well, and Paula, you dealt with it. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. If it's like 80 feet and 1/4 of an inch, I'm gonna be mad.
Well, let's see if Paula nails it, OG got it, or if Len's right, with it being a little bit shorter. Doug, what's our answer?
Hey there, stackers. I'm chocolate lover and staggeringly handsome lumberjack, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. Every year since 2007, after the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree is taken down, it's been turned into lumber that's donated to Habitat for Humanity. Pretty cool to think that Jimmy Carter's out there somewhere building a house out of an old Christmas tree, huh? Today's trivia question is, how tall is this year's Rockefeller Center Christmas tree? The answer, coming in at a gargantuan 12 tons, the stunning 80-plus-year-old Norway spruce that's bringing joy to millions of people in Manhattan this year stands at an impressive, well, I'll say this, it's 20 feet longer than what Len guessed and 1 inch shorter than what Paula guessed. That means OG has nailed it. It's 80 feet tall. Geez, and I thought the 9-footer I chopped down was heavy.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
gosh, that's ridiculous.
Wow, is right.
Paul,
Yeah.
it was hard to keep a straight face knowing that you had no prayer. You could get, and you know what? I think if you went up there with a measuring tape, it probably could have
was
been
If the wind
80 feet
blows
1
just
inch.
right.
Yes.
I bet if it did some yoga and stood up straight, it would be 80 feet 1 inches.
Come on.
Finally
Come on.
listen to its mother.
Some good
You can do it,
posture.
Tree.
Yeah.
All right, time for the thrilling third round of our game show. Third round of the game show brought to you by depositaccounts.com. You guys know what happens. Paula, you know what happens when you go to depositaccounts.com?
You find out that the accounts that you've previously been depositing in are nowhere near the best in class.
Well, unless you've got one that's already in the top 1%. And there's a huge difference between the top 1% and the rest of the accounts. I'm doing this a little bit early, but I'm putting in depositaccounts.com into my browser right now. Listen to this, Paula. The national average, according to deposit accounts on savings accounts, 0.48% still. Top 1% average, 4.92%. This huge, huge difference. When it comes to CDs, 1 year CD, national average, 3.98. Top 1%, 5.72. You want to check it out, head to depositaccounts.com because we recorded this a little bit early. So here's the thing that we've got going on right now. It's the big final round. Paula has 2. Len has 1. OG has 3. And we're going to go third round, I think, in order of who's in what place. Which means, Len, to put pressure on everybody, can you tie OG and get to 3?
Well, I have 2. Well, I had one I was going to be really obscure, but these are big financial mistakes, right? You're talking big, supposedly, right? It's
Yeah,
big
so far, I mean,
financial
we've got living on borrowed money, not having a plan, not investing for retirement, and living paycheck to
Yeah.
paycheck.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the one I was I'm gonna save it for after I lose this thing here. But
Well, this is the
yeah,
last
to see
round.
what other people say. I know. No, so I'm gonna go with the one I think is more likely to be on there. Although I think the one I was gonna say is actually a pretty cool one. Okay, so this is to me this is a huge one because I have friends who did this, and I shook my head every time. We both did. When you refinance your house, most people like I refinanced my house 5 times, and I not once did I ever take money out of that refinance. I just lowered the interest rate and left it. But I know so many people that refied over when these interest rates were, and they took the money and put it on a boat, or they'd spend it on a I don't know, great
Airplane.
vacations, stuff like that. And then before you know it, I mean, you kind of defeat the whole purpose of the refiing. And I think over time, that's a huge, that's a lot of money.
But you got a sweet
especially if
boat.
you did it, have a sweet boat. But what if you did it like 5 times like I did it, and you took money out every time? I mean, that you're really jacking it. It's great at first, but I think it really, in terms of huge, big effects, I think that has got to be on there. It has to be. And I rest my case.
I guess blowing your refi money. Is that what we're going to call it? Blowing your refinance money?
Blowing your refi money.
Blowing your refinance money. Is that on the list? It sure is, Len.
Yeah.
Except they call it using your home equity like a piggy bank. Is what
That's what it is.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Refinancing and taking cash out of your home means giving away ownership to somebody else. In some cases, refinance might make sense. You can lower your rate, or if you can refinance and pay off higher interest debt. However, the other alternative is to open a home equity line of credit. This allows you to effectively use the equity in your home like a credit card. Could mean paying unnecessary interest for the sake of using your home equity on whatever. Yeah.
About.
All right. Len ties it up. Len now has 3.
Oh, I have 4.
OG has 3. Or I'm sorry,
4.
Len has 4. Yeah, Len, thank you. Math, apparently,
What
not
was
my
Len's
strong
first
suit.
answer? What was your first answer, Len?
Not having a plan.
Oh, yeah.
Not having a plan.
So,
Sorry,
Paula,
Len.
you've got 2
Hmm.
to beat Len and force OG to sweat it out.
All right. So I'm going to say not being on the same page as your spouse or partner.
Not being
That's a good one.
on the
Yeah.
same page
That could be that
Yeah.
as
or
your
not having-
spouse.
or not having financial
your marriage.
conversations with them.
Not being on the same page as spouse or partner. Is it on the list? Again, a good
overrated.
one.
Yeah.
Again, a really good one. How
Yeah,
often
I was-
well, what number 2 cause of divorce, Paula?
Oh, number 2. What's number 1?
How about
Yeah, don't-
infidelity?
Yeah.
Right? I always thought that money was the number 1 cause.
I saw just last week it was number 2 on a latest poll. Let me pull up what was number 1.
Seems pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think.
So for potential suitors out there, just so we're clear, Paula, you're cool with the whole infidelity thing? I just want to get everything straight.
I just
mean, it's a
figured
thing
number 1
now.
and number
Don't say anything, Paula. Just don't say anything. Don't answer.
One is infidelity.
Yeah, it has to be.
Number 2 is number 3 is lack of communication, which Paula, you got 2 and 3 in there. Number 4, constant arguing. See number 3, right? Number 5 is weight gain. Weight gain.
Wait, what?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Number 6, not having a sweet boat.
Keeping all of your home equity money in the home like a chump.
Communication for people in a relationship, absolutely huge. OG, you've got 3. Len's got 4. Who's going to win this thing?
I have 2 answers. One is very specific, but I feel like it could be on the list based on some of these other answers. And then one is very generic, which I think might be on the list, but should be, but hard to say based on the list. I think I'm kind of stuck. What was Len? What was the other one you were going to say that you thought was really good?
No, I'm not going to say it.
I just want to see if
because
we
I
have the same
think it's
ones.
on. I think it's on there, but it's obscure. But I think it's on there.
Financial mistakes. This, I like the home equity one, Len, and that brought up another one that I was thinking about. That I feel is very specific here, but people complain about a lot. So I'm going to go with it. Just see what happens. I'm going to say not. How's this worded? Top 10 most common financial mistakes. So not like replacing your car too often, not driving it into the ground. Like I got to get a new, like leasing cars. I'm just trying to put a lot of stuff around cars. Right
Something
here.
about cars and
Maybe
getting new
boats
ones
in
all
there.
of the time.
Maybe cars but like having a car that tows a boat, which would include owning a boat, which would be bad. Because you got away with the home equity one. I think this one's a little specific. So big money, no whammy. Something about cars and getting new ones, and you're not supposed to.
Is buying a new car on the list? It is on the list, which means OG brings it home.
Did you see the look of relief on his face? That was genuine.
Got to make it a game for the last couple of weeks. Len, what was the one that you had on your list, but you thought might not be on the list?
Co-signing. Don't
Oh.
co-sign for a loan.
Oh,
Co-signing did make this. By the way, I did think we've had some, as I mentioned at the top of this show, we've had some pretty rotten lists. This is a pretty good list, I think. I think the ones that you guys got, living on borrowed money, not investing in retirement, living paycheck to paycheck, not having a plan, using your home equity like a piggy bank, buying new cars. I think those are good ones.
What'd they miss,
You guys
Joe?
mentioned some other really good ones. Yeah, the ones that Paula, would your next guest have been?
I only had
For
those
no
2 in my
points.
head. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any more?
Wait, actually, I take that back.
Yes.
Not
She
having an
raised her
estate
hand.
I
plan.
like
calling me.
So
Me.
cosign wasn't on the list. Cosign.
Which
wasn't
one
on
of
the
us
list.
just got out of college again? Oh,
Yes, not having an estate plan.
You know, that's not on the list
That's a
either,
good
but that's a good
that's a
one.
good
Just
one
like the
too.
insurance one.
Mhm.
It's great. These are the biggest, the four, by the way, this is an Investopedia list and we'll link to it in the show notes, but excessive and frivolous spending is number one, just very foundational, just excessive and
Oh my
frivolous
God,
spending.
that's just the whole spending
It's
too
also
much.
like no plan. That's basically what Len said first, right?
It's just, well, that's why I said, it's funny because I said, do you think it's number one? And Doug said, no, I think it's number 10. And I was like, oh yeah, number 10. Yeah. So those were the two we were debating on. So Len was going to get that one probably either way. Next is never ending payments, just buying things on payments and burying yourself in, I got another payment, then another payment, another payment. So your whole budget goes to payment subscriptions, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Next is paying off debt with your retirement savings, like 401k loans. That was another one. And then spending too much on your house, spending too much money on your house.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good
But I think that I would put I'd put at least the insurance one up against those.
Yeah, I thought that's a huge one.
Yeah. Yeah. And the estate plan is obviously huge. Just absolutely huge. Great game show, guys. Thank you so much for playing. Let's find out what all of you guys are up to where you are this first full weekend in December. OG, what are you doing this weekend?
I have to whisper it. Can I whisper?
You can whisper.
I have a surprise for Mrs. OG this weekend.
Oh,
It's kind of like a Christmas gift, but she doesn't know it's coming.
that's fabulous.
It's involved a lot of planning for like 6 months.
Did you buy her a new Lexus? Park it in the driveway?
Like
that.
the summer of it's the season of what did he say? The season of savings. That's like obviously the best commercial that
Yeah. And Paul, you guys know what we're
SNL
talking
has
about?
ever
The
done.
Saturday Night Live
Yeah,
commercial.
the Lexus commercial with the big red ribbon on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
she's
do
like,
know
you
the
did
Saturday Night
what?
Live skit?
Wait, that was also a
No,
Saturday
I
Night
don't. It
Live.
doesn't
skit?
ring it.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't
Guess,
remember.
I
guess
just
what
know
we're
the
doing.
commercial, the Lexus commercial where the Christmas
yes, we will-
commercial.
All right. Hold on a second.
So no, it's not that. It's something different.
I'm going to play it.
Hey, Matt, I think there might be one more gift for your mom right there.
It hasn't been a normal year, so this Christmas, get her something extraordinary during the Lexus December to Remember sales event.
Nathan, you didn't.
With flexible financing at 0% APR, there's never been a better time to buy or lease a new Lexus.
Merry Christmas, baby.
Are you kidding me, Nathan? Did you seriously buy a car without asking me?
Well, because for Christmas,
This is a major purchase.
right? But it was a December to remember.
It's a Lexus. We don't have the money for this, Nathan.
We don't?
No, we don't. Your father doesn't. Your father hasn't worked since last March.
What?
Yeah, COVID has hit a lot of people hard, and I'm no exception.
Nathan, you got fired in March 2019. COVID had nothing to do with it.
Hey, pal, I guess your old man's busted.
It's beginning to look a lot like savings, so get to your local Lexus dealer today.
How much did you spend on this ridiculous car, Nathan?
It was only $39.99 to its signing. $4,000. It's not that much, babe.
And how much is the monthly payment?
The what?
Did you think this entire car cost $4,000?
Uh-huh.
There's a monthly payment.
Yeah, but with the 0% APR, I think it's all good.
APR? Do you mean APR?
I'm pretty sure it's APR. Just
Wow.
hey, come on, it's Christmas. This is good. I did a good thing for us. Let's enjoy it.
Dad, it's 9 a.m.
So, not like I have work later. Come on.
So he starts drinking a beer, and then it turns out that his neighbor comes over, and it turns out he borrowed the money from his neighbor for the APR.
That is one of the better ones they've ever done.
That's a good one.
So it's not that. It's
No,
something
it's not
else.
that. You didn't buy a
But
Lexus.
for Christmas.
Something else.
December to
Len,
remember.
what's going on at lenpenzo.com this December?
Well, I'm rerunning a post that got great feedback from the readers, going back and forth, debate on when's the right time, because it's gift giving season. When is the right time to stop giving gifts to nieces and nephews? So, that was quite. It got quite a little debate going on that one. So, anyways, stop on by lenpenzo.com. Read that, and don't forget to click the ads. It is the Christmas season.
You're going to find out.
Thank you very much.
You're going to find out which members of the Len Penzo community are Ebenezer Scrooge. As you go through those comments, you should never get your nieces and nephews anything, or your spouse. Paula, what's going on at affordanything.com?
Oh, on the Afford Anything podcast, Jamila Soufant is on the show.
Oh,
She's
awesome.
the host of the Journey to Launch podcast. Morgan Housel is on the show. He's talking about his new book, Same as Ever.
Never heard of
Title
him.
of his new book.
Is he related to? Is he
Morgan is one of the
related
most-
to Hugh? Is it Hugh? Huel?
Huel Housel?
Huel?
Yeah, Huel Housel.
What?
No, California
Huel?
Gold. You don't watch PBS? Oh, forget it. That's a California joke, I guess. You have to be on the West Coast to know that one, and you have to be pretty old too. Forget it.
All our
Huel
older
Hauser.
California listeners are
Host.
like, duh. It's his nephew Morgan. Yeah, gotta be. But Morgan Housel's coming on.
Morgan Housel, exactly. One of the most brilliant minds in the finance world.
Present company excluded.
Oh, very much included.
Oh, man. And that's it. Afford Anything, where finer podcasts are distributed.
Exactly.
All right, that's going to do it for today. Thanks everybody who joined us live here to watch this recording session. I almost said this train wreck.
It wasn't awful. There wasn't a lot of swearing.
But we did no.
There's not a lot of stuff to edit. Steve's got an easy job this week, I think.
I thought we held it together pretty well. You guys
Should
did
do it again
especially.
sometime.
Yeah, I think we will. I think that's a 2024 thing, OG, that we're going to do a few more live Fridays. So hang in there and come join us, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get in on the goodness that's hanging out with us. I know, just pinch yourself, right? But we end every show with a to-do list. Doug, what should be on our to-do list after today's game show?
Well, Joe, first, take a moment to scour your banking app for subscriptions, then lock that cash into your pocket by raising your automatic savings by the same amount. Second, make sure you take advantage of employer-sponsored investment plans like a 401k. But the big to-do, always check for wildlife before you chop down a tree. Otherwise, you might end up getting attacked by an angry family of squirrels. Looks like this guy's got to get another rabies shot. Third one this year. Thanks to Paula Pant for hanging out with us today. You'll find her fabulous podcast, Afford Anything, wherever you listen to finer podcasts. Thanks to Len Penzo for joining us today. You can find Len at lenpenzo.com/Ebenezer Scrooge. Thanks also to OG for joining us today. Looking for good financial planning help? Head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG for his calendar.
All right, we did it, everybody. Thank you so much. E Boone, let's see what we had here. Paula's cat was saying hello, says P Flyer. Dividend Gypsy, when we were wondering about whether it was right or wrong, said send it to Kevin, our 201 writer, and let him be the decider. Andre SC, great to see how the show's made. Jeff, my favorite roundtable, and oof on midday stuff. So thanks for hanging out with us, guys. All right. We'll see you. Well, hopefully early next year, we'll do this again. Maybe we could do the, I don't know if we could do the Magic 8 Ball or not.
Oh my God. That'd be like a 5-hour recording.
It is for everybody out there. The Magic 8 Ball is a great episode, but that recording is a marathon.
Take the day off.
We need like a halftime.
Yes.
Halftime show is what we need.
Yeah.